1939 in the kitchen, saying a long goodbye. His father says he'll be okay, but there's a tear in his mother's eye. Puts his hand in his tunic pocket, gives back his front door key. Then he sits at the kitchen table. He sits and drinks his tea. He's 17, waiting at the railway station. A travel warrant for his fare. Checks the platform clock and knows he's got some time to spare. A melancholy waitress gives a smile he doesn't see. Then he sits at a corner table. He sits and drinks his tea. On the Belgian border, the French surrender, and he joins the big retreat. His chances of survival rest on blood, dog spirit and his feet. He sits towards the Dunkirk beach, although there is no key. Then he sits amongst the sand dunes and the bombs. He sits and drinks his tea. In battle dress with gun held high, he swims towards the boat. Tries to help another soldier, but a bullet penetrates his comrade's throat. Strong arms reach out in unison to steal him from the sea. Then he sits on deck with the wounded. He sits and drinks his tea. D-Day, re-equipped and resolute, confronts the Aryan horde. The venue for this conflict is a beach they've labelled sword. Through Normandy and Flanders, then Lille to set the city free. Then he sits and waits for the final push. He sits and drinks his tea. Safely back in Blighty, he dons the suit they gave him at D-Mob. Beggars can't be choosers, he'd take any kind of job. But when Sunday comes, he always finds the time to play with me. Then he sits and thinks of absent friends. He sits and drinks his tea. All the kids have gone now, how quickly they have grown. He knows that somewhere out there they'll bring up families of their own. His battles are now over. From the working week he's free. He sits alone in a wheelchair. He sits and drinks his tea. He gazes at our faces and the sadness in our eyes. And with the memories fading fast, accepts his own demise. I know that he'll be watching us. He'll be looking down on me. And he sits there up in heaven. He sits and drinks his tea.